Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Fiesta Gardens Library. We are in the month of March, and March celebrates Women's History Month. And today I'm reading you a story about Sonia Sotomayor, Justice Sonia Sotomayor. The title of the book is Sonia Sotomayor, A Judge Grows in the Bronx. The author is Jonah Winter. This book is bilingual, English and Espanol. You never know what can happen. Sometimes the most beautiful moonflower blossoms in an unexpected place, on a chain link fence, near broken glass, next to an abandoned building, watered by someone whose name you might not even know. And sometimes the most amazing person blossoms in just such a place as well. So it was with a little girl named Sonia. Her blossoming began with her mother's love and her mother's hard work. Oh, how Sonia's mother loved her. She worked night and day and night as a switchboard operator just so she could pay for Sonia's and her brother's private schools. She, the mom, had never made it past the 3rd grade when she was a girl, but she sure wanted her children to. They lived in a public housing project in a part of New York called the Bronx, a place where most people had precious little money, and Sonia's family was no different, with only their mother to support them. You see, Sonia's father had died when she was only 9 years old, leaving just an empty chair and much, much sadness. But you can't give in to sadness when your children need to eat. This is why Sonia's mother worked and then came home and cooked pork chops. To Sonia, this was heaven. Oh, how she loved her mother. When Sonia's mother wasn't cooking or working, she was studying. She wanted to become a nurse so she could make better wages and help her children even more. While Sonia slept, sometimes her mother stayed up until midnight doing her homework. There was nothing she would not do to help Sonia or her brother. Sonia loved the world her mother gave her. Her mother and father were from Puerto Rico, and Sonia grew up surrounded by the tastes and sounds of Puerto Rican culture. On Saturday night, Sonia's family and friends would get together while the grown-ups sat in one room playing dominoes. Sonia and her cousins played Loteria, a Latin American bingo game that was led by her abuelita. And she was also surrounded by books, school books, library books, encyclopedias. And when the schoolwork was done, there were her favorite books, the Nancy Drew mystery books. Nancy Drew was a girl detective who was always on the go, solving crimes. She was unstoppable. That's who Sonia wanted to be. But then something happened that made her change her mind. When she was only 8, her doctor sat her down and told her some bad news. She had a disease called diabetes. If you have diabetes, you have to take several shots of medicine a day for the rest of your life. So maybe she wouldn't be Nancy Drew, but that didn't mean she couldn't be unstoppable. Her favorite TV show was Perry Mason, about a courtroom lawyer. Sonia's grades were so good that she was accepted at one of the very best colleges in America, Princeton University. Sonia felt scared and shy and very out of place there, almost like she was on a different planet. During her first week, she heard a cricket in her dorm room and it scared her. The cricket was outside the window in a tree. Growing up in the projects, Sonia never had a tree outside her window like she did at Princeton. And growing up in the projects, Sonia never had the sorts of luxuries her classmates took for granted. Most of the Princeton kids had grown up taking tennis lessons and vacationing in Europe and skiing in the winter. In similar shoes, some people may have gone back home, but Sonia was like a flowering vine that would not stop growing. She would not just survive this strange new world of Princeton, she would thrive. She would become the head of a club for the handful of Latino students at Princeton. Success comes to those who make the most of the chances they are offered in life. Sonia did become a judge, and a good judge too. She was known for working very hard and always being very prepared for every trial. Unlike many judges, she had grown up in poverty. She had grown up as a New Yorican, a child of Puerto Rican parents in New York. She had seen things most judges had not. People she'd grown up with had gone to jail. People she'd grown up with were poor, and many of them weren't as lucky as she had been. They'd had trouble learning to speak English, trouble finding jobs. Unlike many judges, she knew firsthand what prejudice was, what it was to be judged for your background. In the world of judges, this made Sonia very special. Oh, but Sonia, the very special judge, did not stop there. No, no, no. You see, Sonia was offered the chance of a lifetime. She was invited to the White House by none other than President Barack Obama, because President Obama had decided to nominate Sonia to the best job a judge could possibly have, to be a Supreme Court justice. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the nation. Supreme Court decisions help shape the law of our land. This was huge. And it says here, gulp. There had never been a Latin American on the Supreme Court. How strange this was. There were so many people of Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Cuban descent, adding color to the great garden that is America. Why shouldn't all these people have someone who understands their lives on the Supreme Court? She was one of the most respected judges in the country. She was the perfect choice. This was an honor beyond anything Sonia, in all of her beautiful flowering, had ever imagined. At her announcement ceremony, Sonia spoke about her mother rather than herself. I have often said that I am all I am because of her, and I am only half the woman she is. Then, speaking straight to her mother in the audience, she said, I thank you for all that you have given me and continue to give me. Her mother cried and cried. This was her laughter. It wasn't over, though. There were some bumps on the way to the Supreme Court, a broken ankle which didn't slow her down one bit, and angry people calling Sonia names like racist just because she was proud to be a Latina judge. And days of tough questions from a panel of 19 senators, a row of white faces, most of them male. But this didn't stop her. Nothing could stop Sonia, the dynamo from the Bronx, from making history at the nation's first Latin American Supreme Court justice. You never know what can happen, especially when you water a flower. The end. Sonia Sotomayor, a judge, grows in the Bronx. Happy Women's History Month. I'm so proud to be reading this to you. Bye-bye. See you next time.